Hi there, it's Tracy here from the Papercraft Studio. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to show you how to make this fun fold fancy Flora card. So it just stands like that. This piece here just flips open. I have actually cut a piece to write on inside, but it's just a fun way to use up some strips of cardstock. But also I didn't really see in the catalogue how busy this paper was, and I love it, but it is quite busy. So this is Fancy Flora 6x6 designer series paper. So you see there's some gorgeous designs on here that would make a fantastic card just on their own with a label on, sentiment, and you've got some kind of arty sketchy designs on the back. Some of them not so keen on personally, but you know, that side gorgeous. So you know, you need to go through them and have a look. Again, this is lovely, and I might actually do that one on this version today. I gave my ladies a choice of some of the different ones, so that's the paper I used, but there's some really pretty kind of B-sides as well. You know, that looks quite kind of oceany, so definitely worth having a look at those papers. But like I said, I'm going to use a slightly different one here today. So I'll tell you the supplies that you need. You need a piece of Orchid Oasis cardstock, and this measures 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. I did 4 1/8 because here in the UK our A4 paper is 8 1/4 inches wide, so do 4 1/4 if you want to, if you're using US cardstock. So yeah, 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. You need another piece of Orchid Oasis that measures 11 inches by 2 1/2. You need 2 pieces of basic white, which measure 5 3/8 by 2 3/8. Anything else? You need some scrap pieces of basic white to stamp your images on. And then yeah, the designer series paper, that's quite important. So these measure, where did I just put those ones here? I had these for my class, so I've got several cut here, but you need 2 pieces. I'm going to just choose a couple here, and these measure, both of them measure 5 3/8 by 1 inch. Okay, so that's all the supplies you need. So let's go ahead and start putting this together. I love this style of card because it takes quite a minimal amount of cardstock and it still looks, you know, just a little bit different. So so we're going to start with this, and we're going to just put our designer series paper either side here with a slight border around these 3 edges, and this piece here will cover them. Let me just show you with them on here. So I'm going to put that one there, so you can see there's a tiny border all the way around, and this one here. But when I come to put this centerpiece on, it will hide some of that, but it's so that when we get the front layer down, we get even kind of borders on these pieces here. So that's how it's meant to be. Right, okay, so once again, I haven't tested my glue beforehand to see if it's going to work for me. Let's have a quick look before I start sticking. So you're going to go ahead, oh, it does. You're going to go ahead and just stick these on. That's pretty as well, look at that. With some liquid glue. Be careful not to go too close to the edges, because you know, you don't want it to splurge out. And you're going to pop it just like I say, with that small border on these 3 edges, and then flip this one over. It's so nice this side as well. I kind of should have checked that first. And that's the great thing with our designer series paper, you know, sometimes the B sides I prefer to the A sides and vice versa. So you know, we're lucky we have a choice, and very occasionally the 2 favorites are on the front and the back, which is slightly annoying, but you know, just means I have to buy more. Okay, so they're in place. Next we just need to score this piece here, so I'm just going to grab my Simply Score tool, and we're just going to score it on the long side at 5 1/2, so straight down the middle there. That's all you need to do on that piece. Then just fold that in half, and just grab your bone folder, just give it a little push down, and then this is just going to stick straight on here. Line it up at the top so it's in line there, and you've got the opening kind of that way. Okay, so you're just going to have it in the middle like that. So go ahead and stick this one down. So we've had another birthday in the house since I spoke to you last. Madison was 17, I think. Oh no, maybe I did the Love Cats card actually before her birthday. I think I did, because that was Valentine's, so I probably told you this already. Yeah, so I'm hoping actually to do the card I made for her birthday in my class next month. So I'm not going to show you any sneak peeks because I love it, and it's it's a really cute fun fold card again, or interactive card I should say. Okay, so on one of your pieces of basic white cardstock, you're going to use, well, you could use whichever embossing folder you like really, but this is what's this one called, Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. I love it. It's great for any background really, and especially if you don't want anything too busy. Obviously there's a lot going on here with the DSP and with the flowers that I cut out, so this was, you know, not too busy but enough to give a bit of detail. Can you see it on there? So I'm just going to go ahead and emboss this layer. I'll be right back. Okay, so you can choose which side you want. The other side, I think, doesn't really make a lot of difference with this embossing folder because there's embossed and debossed bits throughout the embossing folder. Okay, so stick this again. There'll be a small border. Stick it to the front panel here. Okay, so you've got that inside blank and then this one on the outside, and then your other piece to write on you're going to stick in here too. Okay, again with that little border. So then these little bits of Orchid Oasis here just line up and they look the same as the rest of the card, so that's why I cut it that way, and that's why we stick it over the top of the designer series paper here. Okay, so with the flowers, like I said, you'll need some basic white cardstock. These are gorgeous. So two-tone Flora, you can they come with the stamps or with the dies, or again as a bundle, and they're just gorgeous. A lot of them are, well, two-tone, two-step stamping. So I'll show you a couple of tips and tricks on these ones. So I feel with the bigger flower here, you'll find to go ahead and stamp this more solid image first, and then line up this coordinating one over the top. And do you know, look at this, it makes you look like an artist, but it's so simple, you don't have to be. So first of all, I'm going to stamp the solid image. So I'm just going to give it a quick clean because I used it in my class and I think it's got a bit dusty. Let me just give it a quick clean on here. My faithful scrub. If you don't have one of these, it's great. There's the scrub and there's the what's this called, stamping mist. This lasts forever. Well, it doesn't last forever, I can't say that because you'll be coming back to me and saying it's run out one day, but it lasts a long time, what I'm trying to say. So stamping this one in Orchid Oasis, so this is the solid colour, and because I've just re-inked it, mine looks a bit bobbly there, so I'm just going to hold it down just for a couple of seconds to get rid of that. And then the more detailed stamp for the bigger one, I'm going to stamp in Starry Sky. And in my class I got this all over my hands and then on my face, and of course it's the darkest colour, isn't it, that I had with me, so of course it's going to go all over me. So ink that one up, and you'll see here little bits that you can line up, particularly these two at the bottom, with the outline of the more solid image underneath. Now I'm trying not to get my head in this, so it may not be quite as accurate, but look at that, you know, it looks like, you know, you're amazing, which of course we all are, but you know, it's very easy with these stamps to make something as gorgeous as that. Okay, so these smaller flowers here, the little trio of, oh, sorry, not trio, quartet of flowers, which is where are they on here? This one. So I've used so far these two. I'm going to use this one. I'm using the two smaller ones here, this one and the leaves. Okay. So I'm doing this in Balmy Blue. Again, I've just re-inked it. It's a funny angle to stamp, but here we go. Leave a bit of space in between because you're going to be die cutting a lot here. The leafy kind of frond I did, or kind of fern I did in Pool Party. So that's, I've got something on there. Let me just get rid of that as well. I don't know what that is. It's a bit of tape or something I've got on there. Okay, that would never look good. Let's try again. So stamp that one here. And then, oh, with the little one here, the flower, I found it easier because I'm just stamping in the same colour. I'm stamping in Fresh Fresia, and I found it easier to stamp the more detailed stamp first. I'll show you why, because like I say, we're using the same colour. It was really hard to hover over this because there's a little, can you see that little V in the middle of this stamp? Maybe you see that. There's also a little V on this one, and you need to line those up. So I found it easier to do the detailed one first. So I'm just going to ink that in Fresh Fresia, and I'm going to stamp it down here. So I've just gone straight in with the colour, stamped it down, and then on the solid image I'm going to ink it up again in Fresh Fresia, stamp it off once. Oh, that didn't come out very well. Stamp it off once on my grid, and then line up the little V and stamp it down there, so you get two tones of the same colour. So that's really good, especially if you're trying to build up your ink collection. You can give yourself, you know, multiple different tones of the same colour. And then finally, sorry, a lot of stamping here, soft succulent. So these colours are all in here, probably not so much balmy blue in this one, but there is in there. These little leaves I'm going to stamp in soft succulent. Is there space? I think so, there. Okay, so with the dies, I found it easier to use a bit of washi tape, or you can, if you haven't got washi tape, use post-its, and you're just going to pop these around and then just, I'm sure you know this anyway, but just get your best fit and then pin them in place. I just stick to the outside edge in case it pulls off a bit of the image. You just pin those in place. So I'm going to do that with all of these, and I'm going to come back to you after I've cut these out. Okay, so here they all are. One more thing I need to cut out actually is this one here, just this little label here as well. So I'm going to cut that one and I'll be right back to you again. Okay, here we go. And you may find it easier, and a lot of the time I would do this, I would stamp first and then cut it out, but just while I'm busy cutting, I'm just going to do it all at the same time. So gently peel these ones off and poke them through. So clever. I love our dies. And it's, you know, there's a lot going on in this card. I appreciate stamping wise and cutting wise, but I think it's really worth it because I love how it came out in the end. Okay, so the other thing I used here is Pool Party Grosgrain ribbon. That's in the main catalogue, I believe, and you'll need about, how much did I say, 8 inches. I'm just going to cut myself that. Hit my light. So you can go ahead and have a look at how you want to arrange all this. So with my ribbon, all I'm doing is putting a little fold, a little loop at the end, and offsetting these 2 bits here, and then I'm just going to use a glue dot just to pin that down, because once it's pinned in place there, it's a lot easier to work with. So just peel the top layer back. Oh, no. Oh, it's so easy, she says. It didn't quite stay apart. That's what I want. I want a bit of a offset there. Okay, so then once you've got your ribbon like that, you can have a little play around. So on my original card, I stuck all of these down just with liquid glue. Just make sure all your little bits are popped out of this one as well. So all with liquid glue. You can see on my original, my ink was running out. Look at the difference there. And then just have a little play around to see how you'd like to pop this all around. And I can't get this one up. My little what was this kind of fresh freesia flower, I just propped up on a dimensional in the end, but after I'd stuck that on. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. So let's go ahead and start to build that up. So again, I'm going to put another glue dot underneath that little crossover bit of the ribbon. So we'll have that. So we want it coming down a bit like that. That didn't go on, it's on my finger. I thought that feels a bit sticky. Okay, so coming down slightly. I'm not thrilled with how mine's looped there, but you know, I'm gonna live with that. There, okay. And then just bear in mind when you're sticking the flowers on, obviously you don't want to put glue past this point. So you'll see some of mine are hanging over the edge. Just make sure you don't have glue on these bits. Probably sounds obvious, but you know, don't want to ruin your project when you've spent ages cutting out the flowers and things. So I didn't put glue on the whole flower. I've just kind of put it on the bits that I absolutely know are going to be stuck to this card front. And this one, I know I'm just going to pop down the back here. So I'm just going to put it on this bottom piece and just tuck that under because I didn't put glue all the way up on my big flower there. Not loving that. Oh well, I'm going to live with it. I'm going to accept it. And then these little ones I kind of tucked under here. Might have it that way up, I think. So, you know, you can play around with how you want this to look. So that one's showing a little bit like that. These are so cute. I love these. It wasn't the idea, as I normally say, that I had originally in my head, but you know, quite often these things change as I try them out. If I don't really like what was happening, you know, I have a little play around and then it's all good. Okay, so the happy birthday stamp I used, did I get that out already? I stamped in Balmy Blue, and it's from Sentimental Park Dies, this one here. So yeah, it's always handy to have a birthday stamp, I feel. So I'm stamping again in in Balmy Blue, and it's probably easier actually to have something underneath, and I've got it around the edge, I can see, so I'm going to get rid of that because I don't want a line around there. Instead I have a line all over my fingers. So you're going to stamp that one there. Okay, so we're ready to do a bit more assembling now. So this one then I kind of layered across here. before deciding where to put this little one, because I wanted it all to kind of just layer up. So I'm going to lay this one on. Again, I just stuck it on with liquid glue, but more towards this end, because obviously this end is going to be lifted. And just kind of across the bottom of that gorgeous, gorgeous flower. Is that going to stick there? I don't know if I put glue there actually. That's probably why. Put a little dot there. And then, like I said, I just popped this one on a dimensional. Just a big one on the back of there. And this one just sits, so you can still see the leaves, but it's kind of overlapping that flower a little bit. And then, of course, we need some bling. You know, we always do. So let's go ahead and add mine. Look how decimated they are. You know, I've put them in kits, we've had them in class, so you know there's a lot that have been used, but you always need to, you know, be generous with the bling. I'm not convinced this is the stamp I said, the stamp set, so I will correct it. I'm looking around my desk trying to find it. I'm not sure that was from there, but if it's different, I will put it on there. But of course, use a birthday stamp that you've got. So yeah, so you could go anywhere. You could pop one in the middle of the flower. That's quite cute. In the middle of one of these flowers, but I tend to just kind of scatter them around the main card. I think I might have gone a bit too crazy on my last one, so I'm going to put it there this time. I'm happy with 3 this time, but you know, you go ahead, bling away. So there we go. I hope you enjoy making my fancy Flora swing front panel card. Take care, see you soon, bye.